Dr. Taj Hargey is Imam at the Oxford Islamic Congregation. He's also director of the Muslim Educational Centre of Oxford. And he's on the front page of the Times newspaper today saying that he says Boris Johnson was right. Good morning to you, Dr. Hargey.
Good morning.
Good morning. What was Boris Johnson right about?
He was trying to describe it as letterboxes and as robbers, these women that are face masks. And by the way, we shouldn't be dignifying it by calling the face veil. It's a mask, and we should call a spade a spade. And this idea that these people have a so-called right to conceal their identity in public, no one has an automatic fundamental right to conceal his or her face in public. I don't have a right to conceal my ugly face in public. Why should anyone else have that right?
You're likening it to, say, someone wearing a balaclava when they're robbing a bank?
Well, not only that, but I mean, the whole idea is that is public anonymity a fundamental human right? Now, on my reading of the UN International Declaration of Human Rights and other human rights charters, there's no such thing. So where do people come up with it's their human right? Yes, they can wear what they want to wear. I don't have any issue when wear all kind of strange, crazy clothing. But we're talking about facial concealment. That is all we're talking about. A turban, a Sikh turban doesn't conceal the face. A kippah, a Jewish kippah doesn't conceal the face. The crucifix, according to Ruth Davidson, which is a nonsensical argument she's making, we shouldn't be defending...
Ruth Davidson, for people who don't know, Ruth Davidson has said that the burka or the niqab is no different to a Christian wearing a crucifix. And you're saying that's nonsense.
Of course it is, because, I know who's wearing a crucifix. Do I know who's wearing a burqa? How can you equate the two as the same? I mean, why can't we Brits get something in our heads that facial masking is not a human right? Everything else is fine. You can wear a bikini, you can wear whatever you like. I have no issue with that. I have an issue with, can people be anonymous in public? Now, if you want to be anonymous, then don't enter the public square. Stay at home.
OK, now, but Boris Johnson, in his article, he was actually being critical of the Danes and other countries around Europe, France, Belgium, Bulgaria, others, Austria, who are bringing in these bans on the burqa and the niqab. In fact, the bans, of course, they've been approved under EU human rights laws because they're not a ban on those specific garments. They are bans on anyone, male or female, any religion, any or no religion, covering their faces in public unless there's a specific reason, for health reasons or something of the like. Now, he's actually said that the Danes are wrong and that they should have done it because women should have a right to wear what they want. You actually think he's wrong on that? That we should have a ban?
Boris is eating two sides of the same sausage, so to speak. I mean, he can on one level dismiss this as letterboxes and bank robbers, and then say, yes, they have a right to be letterboxes and bank robbers. No. If they are that, they should not be allowed on the public square. I mean, I get so frustrated. This is an issue about public identity. How do we know who you are? How do I know that's Julia? I only know it because of your face. Nothing from the back. I've made many times a mistake, and so many others from the back. You call, say, "Hi, Julia, hi, Julia." The person turns around, it's someone else. I mean, it's the face in our society. Now, here, the traditional British values is that the facial recognition should be maintained. Why are we allowing this foreign imported fad? This trend coming from backward places like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, Saudi Arabia to infest our society here.
Now, Taj, you know perfectly well that you, as a Muslim man yourself, as an imam, you are able to say those things. If Boris Johnson said the last couple of sentences that you said, he would probably lose a whip from the party. He would probably be ousted from public life. No. I'm saying, do we have a situation in this country now where people who are non-Muslim are not able to speak out their views on aspects of Islam, aspects that people claim to be from Islam, and we'll get into that, without being accused of Islamophobia?
PC gone wrong, mad, political consciousness now for everything. For example, at Oxford, some student wanted to have some end of term party, and they had called himself to making some Tunisian couscous, and they said that was cultural appropriation. I mean, what type of nonsense is this? Why are we in this mindset where we cannot say anything? We have to tread on shells all the time. I think people should be able to talk their minds. We're supposed to be in a free country, and unless you deliberately and repeatedly rude and offensive, only then should some action be taken.
Okay, but this is the thing. Okay, so Boris Johnson, is the problem a lot of people have is the language he used, that he could have made all those points. And in fact, he was making a very liberal point about not banning the burqa and the niqab, about women's right to choose. Now, the argument about this is that it's a religious garment and that it's about women's right to express their religious beliefs. But you argue this is actually not actually an Islamic garment. Can you explain why?
The evidence is there. The first recorded evidence in history about facial masking comes in the time of Cyrus the Great in ancient Persia, where he had instructed the court that the womenfolk there of the nobility should cover their faces from the gaze of the hoi polloi, the peasantry. That aristocratic custom spreads to Byzantium, modern-day Turkey. When Islam arrived on the scene in those parts of the world, Iran and Turkey in those days, it then takes on these local customs and gives it a religious veneer. There's no such word in the Quran, burqa or niqab. And so it is a pre-Islamic custom. It is a non-Quranic thing, and automatically it becomes un-Muslim. And of course it has health implications, security implications, and very importantly, gender inequality. For example, how come you, Julia, not that you are going to do that, could go down to Barclays Bank or any bank with your face covered, and they'll serve you, and I come along with a ski mask, and I won't be seen the rest of that day. I mean, so we have gender inequality, and of course the big thing is it inhibits social cohesion. When I'm on the tube, when I'm on the bus stop, whatever, I like striking up conversations. I can't strike up a conversation with a masked person.
This thing, genuinely, I find the women wearing these outfits, I find it very disturbing. I see them, people say, well, a tiny number of women are doing it. I see it on the streets of London every single day. More and more. But this is the interesting thing. No, an awful lot of Muslim majority countries around the world actually ban the burqa and niqab themselves, and even the headscarf in the public sphere. And yet we're seeing more and more of it here. Is this a growth? Is it more of a statement of almost a political ideology? Should we see that someone who, for instance, is wearing this outfit is perhaps involved in, perhaps has extremist views, or I mean, we don't want a situation where, because of what Boris Johnson has written, that anyone faces abuse or criticism or at least, God forbid, an attack in the street. But should we question the motives of people who are wearing this garment?
Right, all these emblems, wild bushy beards, hijabs, headscarf, face masks, whatever, what are they? These are just indicative of a gateway theology towards extremism and fundamentalism. By themselves they're not, but it's the gateway theology. And we should be combating this, because this theology comes from where? It comes from Saudi Arabia, the Wahhabis, the Salafis, and so forth. And by the way, our great friends, inverted commas, the Saudis, they gave us ISIS, they gave us Al-Qaeda, they gave us Taliban. Okay, so why are we having this type of perverse Islam making inroads in this country?
Would the vast majority of Muslims living in this country right now, would they, maybe not publicly, because we often have Muslim community leaders speaking out on behalf of ordinary Muslims in the country, would they actually secretly quite welcome the ban on the face? Well, given that the vast majority don't wear it themselves?
Absolutely, because I think, you see, these masked women, they tell others they are more pious than the rest. But what I do know as a fact, that these masked women are all younger people. Their own mothers, and especially their grandmothers, never cover their faces. So my question to these masked women, that means your mother and your grandmother were not Muslim. I mean, it's this type of nonsensical, feigned piety that is now becoming fashionable. We should be resisting this tribal contraption corruption that has nothing to do with Islam, that masquerades as Muslim and has poisoned relations between the indigenous community and immigrant Muslims like myself.
Can I also just finally, as a woman, one of the things that I've spoken to dozens and dozens of women who have told me they personally choose to wear the niqab or the hijab, the niqab or the burqa, so the virtual full face covering, only eyes showing in one of those cases, and they've made some of them are people who've converted, some have come in from families where, could you say, mother and grandmother didn't wear, no pressure to wear those items, but they've chosen to, and when I've asked them, when we have a detailed long conversations about why they wear it, it always seems to come down to that they say that when they wear those items, they are not treated as a sexual being, but as a human being, and they feel that they get more respect because they're not showing their body and their face. What would you say to them?
Rubbish. I mean, they come up with this crazy justification for this. This, for example, the new converts to Islam, especially the white female converts, they want to become more Catholic than the Pope because now they've taken on this new faith. Now we've got to use the symbols of this faith. Islam don't have symbols. I don't have a wild bushy beard. You don't need to cover your hair. You don't need to cover your face. To be a Muslim, you need to act it. And by acting is being kind to people, being friendly to your neighbor, helping society. That is how to be a Muslim, not with these superficial, nonsensical symbols.
Okay, Dr. Taj Hargey, thank you very much indeed. Imam at the Oxford Islamic Congregation, Director of the Muslim Educational Centre of Oxford. He says that Boris Johnson should be free to say what he wants. They shouldn't apologise, but actually he should go further and call for a ban on the burqa.